Welcome back to Tawana Talks, where I believe leadership is a dance everyone's invited to, even you with two left feet. Each week is a new track where we are chatting about the moves you make to lead yourself and others to success. So lace up those dancing shoes and let's dive into creating those supportive steps together. Ready to move with purpose? Let's hit the dance floor. Hi, and welcome to Tawana Talks. This is season 2, and in this space and in this time, I am really excited about season 2 and the direction that season 2 is going and what we have in store for you. We have some great guests. Season 2's focus is a little bit shifted when it comes to the organization and the design of season 2. The first season was birthed out of me really having to, it was really therapeutic for me. And so it was a space and a time where I could be able to reflect and talk out some things and do it and share it with others. That was therapeutic for me. And it was in a time and a space in my life that I needed that. Um, and I needed to be able to show up and provide a space for others who needed that, which ironically led into this space for season 2. And so I want to just take some time during this episode, our first episode, to just kind of communicate those things because, truth be told, I wasn't going to do a season 2. I actually cut season 1 3 episodes short because I wasn't even going to do a season 2. I kind of got a little bit in a space of my feelings, and it had nothing to do with audience viewers. It was me in the space that I was feeling. I did not feel like I was in a space of being able to thrive and provide a space for others. And I needed to kind of just get a little bit better control of my headspace and what this needed to look like, if you will, when it came to what I needed. And so I needed a space that was going to be nurturing and supportive because that's what that birthed out of season 1. It birthed out of being in a space where I was not supported and I was not nurtured. And so I was not able to thrive and show up in my capacity. And so I had to kind of talk some things through and identify what does it even look like to provide support? What does it even look like to be supported? And understanding that support looks different for individuals. Support looks different depending on the environment that you're in and things like that. And so um, I just wasn't there for a moment and I had to redo that. And as going through that process, season 1 was a new birth, really, because pre-season 1, pre even recording season 1, like I felt like I was impregnated with something. I was going through birthing pains and growing pains, and then came that, and that was at its very baby stages, if you will. And it's still a baby and it's still growing, but now it's developing and having a little bit of understanding of what nurturing this looks like. And so now the focus is really on nurturing leaders for lasting success. And that came out of me not having it and understanding what that may look like in providing that for other individuals. And so this new season is an umbrella support under TL Collaborative Coaching and Consulting, which is my organization that I found and am the CEO for. And so the focus for the talks did not change regarding shifting your perspective and having a different perspective or a different focus on life situations and how can you be able to utilize that to create a thriving space? How can you utilize that to benefit yourself and allow others to benefit? And so that's still the focus. In season 1, it was just Tawana Talks, and then there were the Talk Back series. Season 2 is Tawana Talks, but there's guests that will be on season 2. And then there also be some talks that is just from me on a perspective. The individuals and the guests that will show up in season 2 will also give their perspective. And the hopes is that in any of these talks, if you're listening or watching, that you see yourself metaphorically and physically in someone else so that you can see how you can show up and thrive in space and develop lasting success for yourself and what that looks like. And so the goal of this all is to create a collaborative, supportive community where individuals can operate and thrive. And so that's that. I want to take this episode and kind of just focus on that support. And of course, I gotta start it with a story. And so as I was thinking this through, of course, I can only go from my own experience. And oftentimes my experiences include said 9-year-old, my daughter, because I've mentioned several times that amongst my 3 children, I have 2 adults that made me mom and made me who I am, and that I have a young one who shows me who I am every single day. And when I say she shows me, she's able in her way that she operates, responds, and interacts with me, shows me who I am as a leader because I'm her mom and I'm her leader and her parent, guiding and helping her navigate this world. And it is important to me, as well as her, that I provide an environment and a space where she can be supported and thrive for lasting success. My goal is for her to want to be around me when she doesn't have to be around me. And so a lot of my metaphors or situations where I'm able to have an epiphany come from our interactions. So the other day, well, we've started this gratitude thing that we do where, again, I'm helping her shift her focus because our minds will instantly go to the thing that is not good or what we didn't like in the thing. And in my attempt to make sure that I'm continuously shifting my focus and developing an attitude of gratitude, I'm also teaching her that. And so in that, I I used to do like, what is one thing you're grateful for? And she would always just do the default or something easy. Like, I'm grateful for you. I'm like, based on the conversation you just had about complaining about something, I don't think that's true right now, but that's your default. Or she'll be like, I'm grateful for waking up, and those are great things to be grateful for. But I wanted to move past the surface and the superficial level and dig a little bit deeper into just developing an attitude of gratitude. And so I was thinking, how do I provide the support for that? I don't want her to just reciprocate what I'm saying and repeat what I'm saying. And then that just becomes, you said it, so I said it. I want her to really dig deep in about the things that mean something to her and have her to think about those things as she's operating throughout her day and her life, being able to reflect on those things and develop a guideline of how do you dig deep into finding gratitude even in a moment where you're upset. So I had to dig deep in my brain and say, all right, what would I do as a teacher? And so I found this 50, 51 or 52, 50 plus prompts for gratitude. And I'm silly, right? And so I love a good laugh, and I love being able to operate on the part of your brain that makes you laugh, because it is that the things that you laugh at are the things that are going to be memorable, and those are the things that you want to engage in. And so I found this 50 plus gratitude prompt that had things that you wouldn't even think about being grateful for. And it's not the thing that you're grateful for, it's the fact that you are identifying gratefulness. And so this list of 50 plus has things like, I'm grateful for, it says not even I'm grateful for, it says things I'm grateful for, and it has a list, and it may say something that made you smile, or someone that spent time with you, or some things about summer, a particular animal, something that made you cozy, someone that gave you a gift, a particular gift. So those are just some examples. So now you can kind of just think outside of the box. And so we've been practicing that daily. where in the morning, we look at the list, and at night, so we do it twice a day, but at night in the morning, we kind of look at the list and we pick 3 things from that list. And so we will say the thing like, something about summer. I'm grateful that the sun is so warm. And she'll pick her 3, and we'll go through those in the morning and the on the way to school, and then in the evening before bed. So one particular morning, we're driving to school, and I hand her the list, and she's like, I don't need it. And I'm like, oh, okay. And I probably should give you some context. Actually, no, like she just said, I don't need it. It was even no context for that. And so I'm like, okay, so then what are you grateful for? She's like, I don't know. And I'm like, well, here's the list. And she's like, I don't need it. And I'm like, well, you do. If you don't know what you're grateful for, then use the list to assist you with some ideas of things that you can pull about being grateful for. She's like, I don't need the list. I know the things. And I'm like, okay, so what are they? And she's getting all frustrated, like, you're cutting me off. I'm trying to say the things. I'm like, okay, well, say it. Right. And she's like, I just can't think of anything. So I'm like, well, here is the list. She's like, I don't need it. And so in that moment, I started to think, like, why would she not use the support that is available, readily available to her, to help navigate this challenge that she is having, and then just be able to do the thing and thrive in doing the thing? Why would you put yourself through mental anguish trying to think when there's a tool there for you to bypass that, and all you have to do is answer the thing? I was like so blown away, like, I don't understand. But I was like, you know what? I'm going to use the list. And so I said my 3 things. And then eventually she, said her 3 things that she came up with. But that got me thinking. Support is not a sign of weakness. It is actually a sign of maturity. When you allow yourself to utilize support, then that is a sign of maturity. When you identify that you can't do it all, and there are things out there, and there are people out there, and there are systems out there that can support you to do the thing that you're doing and do it well and allow you to thrive, then that is a sign of maturity. Looking at support as a mechanism that is a sign of weakness is actually a sign of immaturity. She's 9. She doesn't see this as an opportunity of growth. She doesn't see this as a tool that is helpful in her task. She sees it as a crutch that makes her look weak. And that is a sign of immaturity. And so as a leader, it is important to recognize where there is support and lean on that support. That is a sign of growth and maturity. I think about a time when I was a principal, and I was talking to a student, and I was like, they were having troubles. Might have been the assistant principal at the time. They were having some troubles with organization and remembering their work. And so my first question, I thought about the thing that I use. And I was like, where's your calendar? And they're like, I don't have a calendar. And I'm like, oh, that sounds like the problem. And they're like, I don't want to use a calendar. I'm not going to remember to put things in there. And the calendar is only going to mess me up. And I'm like, but have you used it? And they're like, no. I'm like, well, how do you know it's going to mess you up? And they were like, because, and I know I'm not going to remember it. And they just started going to all these reasons why it wouldn't work. And my answer to them is what you're doing working now? And they're like, no. And I said, so why not use a tool that is designed to help you achieve the goal that you're trying to achieve, because what you're doing is not working now. And they were a little apprehensive. And the reason for that apprehension
when we think about my daughter and when we think about the student, is this is something new. Growth never feels great, right? And I'm going to say never. Growth doesn't always feel great. When you have to grow out of one season and grow into another, that's not always so fun, because sometimes you get comfortable and you get complacent in the space that you're currently in or the thing that you're currently doing. And when it's time to move, it doesn't always feel great. It's not always comfortable. And so that apprehension of, I don't need it, I don't want to do it, all of those things, that's that uncomfortability. Like, I don't see the benefit in that because I've never done it. And so I'm not going to do it. I'm going to try to figure out what I'm doing and make that work. But the mere definition of insanity is continuing to do the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. Growth and maturity comes when you recognize that what you're doing is not working and I need to do something else, and I may need support in doing that. And I had to show that student that this is not a sign of immaturity, that you need assistance of a calculator. I mean, not a calculator, a calendar. This is a sign of maturity. I'm like, I'm well beyond your age and I have way more responsibilities and experience than you have. And here's my calendar. I said, as a matter of fact, I got two. I got one that's a paper calendar and I have one that is on my phone. And I said, and if I did not have this, I would be a pure mess. I would not know what's going on, when it's going on, where I need to be, and all of those things. And my calendar is my support that helps to navigate me and tell me what I need. And that is what I do as a maturing adult. So it wasn't so much that they were communicating, I don't want the two. They were communicating as, I'm not ready to grow up. And so I ask you, are you utilizing your tools of support that helps you to achieve the goals that you want to achieve? Or are you saying, I'm not ready to grow up? Think about it. Like, think about some of the things that you are apprehensive about using. Think about some of the goals that you're trying to achieve and some of the things that you're trying to do and why you may not be able to do them. Are you navigating your support systems? Are you navigating the tools that are available to you to do those things? Are you viewing those as crutches and signs of weakness? And can you shift your focus to those being things that are in spaces and places for you to do the thing that you need to do or want to do to thrive? So let's get it together and let's grow up. Let's mature and use our support that we have available to us. I have to say that, actually, honestly, that once I said that last part, that kind of hit home for me to do when I said, use your support, because I've not always done that either. I can talk about it in a sense of my calendar and utilizing a template that tells me what I'm grateful for. But when it comes to other things, nope, I've not done it. Just being honest. And I'll talk very specifically, like when my son was younger, I did not ask for babysitters often. Like my goal in my mind was, if it's somewhere he can go, then he'll go with me. I don't need a babysitter to go to the grocery store. I don't need a babysitter to go over to a friend's house, like those types of things. But as I got older with this current one, I realized that it ain't that I need it. And that, yes, I said it ain't. It's not that I need it. It is a support to allow me to do the things I need to do. You need that space. But aside from the specificity of utilizing a sitter or something like that, it's the support. And so, and identifying why we're not using support. And so I remember thinking, as a young mother, that me asking someone to babysit meant that I would be unfit. And that might be some mental trash that had to be unpacked and from just generations or experiences. And so you may have to tackle or look into some things on where did you develop that mindset. But it felt to me that if I got a babysitter, then I was unfit. If I got ask someone to watch my child while I cleaned up, then that was not being a responsible mother. A mother was to be with their child at all times. And I still operated that through all of my children, even this current young one, until I got a little older. And then COVID hit, and it was like, oh, this is not normal to be with your kid when you are forced to be with your kid 24/7. And it is, even more recently, within the past couple of years, of recognizing that I need to use my support and not look at that as being a sign of weakness. That is actually a sign of growth, and help you to develop as you're, recognizing your growth and your sign of maturity. That is actually a positive thing that you can do, is using your support and maturing through that. Um, so yeah, just thinking about that. Yeah. So again, I just asked you the question, as you're thinking about what support looks like for you, filter it through a couple of lenses. If you're looking at not utilizing support, identify, is that because you are not wanting or ready to grow up, but it's time? Is there any mental mindsets that you have that has identified that growth as being a weakness, or a sign that you are less than what you are? And I challenge you to shift that mindset and recognize that it is a growth mindset. It is an opportunity to mature. And also, it is not a sign that you are less than. It's a sign that you are giving yourself the space to grow up, giving yourself the space to grow into, and giving yourself the space to mature by utilizing the support that is available to you. Thanks for listening.